Nearly 2 decades after his passing, the world is witnessing something that many people thought was impossible. A name that once dominated the music industry, a performer who changed the way the world experienced entertainment, has once again become the center of global attention. Michael Jackson, the legendary king of pop, is proving that true icons never really dissipate. According to recent box office reports, the Michael Jackson biopic Michael has achieved a massive worldwide milestone, reaching numbers that shocked Hollywood and changed the conversation around musical biopics forever. This is not just another box office achievement. This is a moment that shows the incredible power of legacy, nostalgia, and the emotional connection between an artist and millions of fans around the world. For years, many believed that Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer would remain one of the most untouchable biopic successes in modern cinema. It was not simply a movie, it became a worldwide cultural event. It dominated conversations, captured the attention of audiences across generations, and proved that historical storytelling could still become a global phenomenon. Many industry experts believed that its record-breaking impact would stand for years. But then came Michael, a film centered around one of the most famous, celebrated, and controversial figures in entertainment history. A man whose life was filled with unbelievable achievements, incredible creativity, intense pressure, and endless public discussion. The story of Michael Jackson has always been bigger than music. It has been a story about fame, ambition, success, struggle, and the price of becoming a global superstar. From a young boy performing on stages around the world to becoming the biggest pop sensation the planet had ever seen, Michael Jackson's journey was unlike anything the entertainment industry had ever witnessed. He was not just a singer. He was a performer who transformed the entire idea of what a music artist could become. His voice, his dance moves, his stage presence, and his creativity created a new standard that influenced generations of artists after him. Songs like Thriller, Billie Jean, and Beat It were not just hits, they became moments in history. His music videos changed the way people viewed visual storytelling in music. His performances turned concerts into unforgettable experiences. Millions of fans did not just listen to Michael Jackson, they experienced him. But behind the fame and the success was a complicated human story. The higher he climbed, the more intense the spotlight became. Every move, every decision, and every part of his personal life was examined by the entire world. His journey was filled with moments of incredible achievement, but also moments that created debate and controversy. And that is exactly what makes the story of Michael Jackson so fascinating. Because when a person becomes a global symbol, people do not just remember the artist, they remember the entire story behind the name. The reason Michael has created such a powerful reaction is because audiences are not only coming to see a famous musician's story, they are coming to revisit a piece of their own memories. For millions of people around the world, Michael Jackson's music represents a specific moment in their lives. It represents childhood memories, unforgettable performances, family moments, and the feeling of watching someone who seemed larger than life. This emotional connection is something that few entertainers in history have ever achieved. Hollywood has always understood the power of nostalgia. When audiences return to a familiar story, they are not just buying a movie ticket. They are reconnecting with a feeling. They are returning to a time when a song, a performance, or a single moment created an unforgettable memory. And Michael Jackson created countless moments like that. But the biggest question remains, how does a movie about a person surrounded by so much discussion and debate attract millions of viewers across the world? How does an artist who passed away years ago still create a level of excitement powerful enough to dominate modern cinema? The answer lies in the rare kind of impact that cannot be created overnight. Michael Jackson spent decades building a connection with audiences that went beyond entertainment. He became a symbol of innovation, creativity, and extraordinary talent. His influence reached different countries, different cultures, and different generations. Even people who were born after his biggest years know his name. They know the songs. They know the dance moves. They know the image of the man who changed pop culture forever. That is the difference between a celebrity and an icon. Celebrities can become popular for a moment, but icons become part of history. And Michael Jackson became history. His story represents the dream of reaching the highest level of success, but it also shows the challenges that come with living under constant global attention. Behind the bright lights, sold-out concerts, and record-breaking achievements was a person trying to survive the weight of worldwide expectations. This human side of his journey is what continues to keep people interested, because people are not only fascinated by success, they are fascinated by the story behind success. They want to know what happens when someone reaches the top of the world. They want to understand the sacrifices, the struggles, and the emotions behind the legend. And that is why the Michael Jackson biopic has become more than just a film. It has become a global conversation about fame, memory, music, and the lasting power of one of the greatest entertainers the world has ever known. But to truly understand why Michael Jackson's story continues to capture the attention of the world, we have to go back to the beginning. Before the fame, before the records, before the title of the King of Pop, there was a young boy from Gary, Indiana, who had a dream that would eventually change the entire entertainment industry forever. Michael Jackson's journey began inside a family where music was already a major part of life. Alongside his brothers, he became part of the legendary Jackson 5, a group that would introduce the world to a young performer with a voice and talent far beyond his years. From the moment he stepped onto the stage, audiences noticed something different. There was a natural energy, a level of confidence, and a unique ability to connect with people that could not be taught. It was clear that Michael was not just another young performer. He had something special. The success of the Jackson 5 was extraordinary. They quickly became one of the biggest musical acts in the world, producing hit after hit and becoming a symbol of the changing face of popular music. But while millions of people were celebrating the group's success, Michael was already carrying the pressure of growing up in the public eye. His childhood was not like most children's. Instead of normal experiences, his early years were filled with rehearsals, performances, recording sessions, and the constant demand to be perfect. The world saw the superstar, but behind that image was a young person trying to understand life under unimaginable pressure. As Michael grew older, he began searching for his own identity as a solo artist. Many performers achieve success, but only a few are able to completely redefine their industry. Michael Jackson became one of those rare artists. His solo career transformed him from a talented singer into a worldwide phenomenon. He was not just creating music, he was creating moments that would become part of history. When Thriller was released, everything changed. The album became more than a collection of songs. It became a global event. It broke records, dominated charts, and introduced a new level of creativity in the music world. The success of Thriller was not only about sales numbers. It represented a shift in popular culture. Michael Jackson proved that music videos could become powerful storytelling experiences. He showed that an artist could combine music, dance, fashion, and visual creativity into something completely new. His famous dance moves became instantly recognizable. His style influenced millions of people. His performances became legendary. At the height of his career, Michael Jackson was no longer just an entertainer. He was a global symbol. His concerts attracted fans from every corner of the planet. His songs crossed language barriers. His influence reached people who had never even experienced his live performances. He became one of the few artists whose name alone could create worldwide excitement. But with that level of fame came challenges that few people could understand. Being one of the most famous people on earth meant living under constant observation. The world wanted to know everything about him. Every decision became news. Every rumor became a headline. The same media attention that helped build his legend also created intense pressure around his personal life. As the years passed, Michael Jackson became one of the most discussed figures in modern entertainment. His music continued to inspire millions, but conversations about his life often became just as powerful as conversations about his career. This created a complicated legacy, one filled with extraordinary achievements but also surrounded by questions and debates. And this is exactly why a movie about Michael Jackson creates such strong reactions. It is not a simple story of success. It is the story of a person who reached the highest level of fame possible while facing challenges that came with being a global icon. Audiences are naturally drawn to stories like this because they reveal the reality behind the image. They show that even the biggest stars in the world are human. The release and success of the Michael Jackson biopic proves something important about modern entertainment. People are still searching for stories that create emotion. They are still interested in the journeys of people who changed the world. And few people changed the world of entertainment like Michael Jackson. His influence can still be seen in today's music, performances, and pop culture. Artists continue to study his techniques. Fans continue to celebrate his work. New generations continue discovering his songs. This ability to remain relevant decades later is what separates legends from ordinary stars. A legend does not disappear when the spotlight fades. A legend continues to create conversations long after the final performance. And Michael Jackson's story remains one of the most fascinating examples of that power. The success of the film is not just about looking back at the past. It is about understanding why one person's creativity, passion, and influence became powerful enough to survive through generations. It is about discovering how a young boy with a dream became a global icon whose name still carries incredible meaning around the world. And as the story continues, the biggest question remains, can any other artist ever reach the same level of impact that Michael Jackson achieved? And as the story continues, the biggest question remains, can any other artist ever reach the same level of impact that Michael Jackson achieved? To understand that impact, we have to look deeper into the years when Michael Jackson was not just a music superstar, but a force that completely changed global entertainment. During the peak of his career, Michael was operating on a level that very few artists in history have ever reached. His name was everywhere. His songs were played around the world. His performances became historic moments. He was no longer competing with other entertainers because he had created an entirely new standard for what a performer could be. Every new project created massive anticipation. Every appearance became an event. The world was watching. One of the reasons Michael Jackson became so unforgettable was because he understood something that many artists did not. Entertainment was not only about the music. It was about the experience. He combined sound, movement, fashion, storytelling, and emotion into something that felt bigger than a simple performance. His music videos were treated like short films. His concerts were not just shows. They were unforgettable experiences that brought together fans from different backgrounds and cultures. He created a connection that went far beyond language. People who could not understand the words of his songs could still feel the emotion behind them. That universal connection became one of his greatest strengths. But while the world celebrated his achievements, the pressure of being Michael Jackson continued to grow. The same fame that brought him incredible success also placed him under a level of attention that few people could handle. Every part of his life became a topic of public discussion. The world was fascinated by him, but that fascination often came with intense judgment. This created a unique situation where Michael Jackson was simultaneously one of the most loved and one of the most analyzed people on the planet. His story became a reflection of the complicated relationship between celebrities and the public. People wanted to see the superstar, but they also wanted to understand the person behind the superstar image. Over time, the conversation around Michael Jackson became larger than music alone. It became a discussion about fame, privacy, media influence, and the challenges of living as a global icon. His career continued to inspire millions, but his personal life remained a subject of constant debate. This combination of admiration and controversy is one of the reasons his story remains so powerful today. Because when audiences watch a film about Michael Jackson, they are not simply watching the journey of a singer. They are watching the story of a person who experienced the highest levels of success and the deepest levels of public attention. They are watching a story about ambition, creativity, pressure, and the complicated reality of becoming a legend. The success of the Michael Jackson biopic shows that people are still deeply interested in stories about extraordinary individuals. In an age where entertainment changes faster than ever, Audiences continue searching for stories that have emotional weight. They want stories that make them remember, question, and feel something. And Michael Jackson's life has all of those elements. It contains moments of unbelievable achievement, moments of struggle, and moments that continue to create conversations around the world. His influence can still be seen everywhere. Modern performers continue to study his stage presence. Dancers continue to learn from his movements. Musicians continue to be inspired by his creativity. Even decades after his biggest achievements, his artistic impact remains visible. That is the true measurement of a legend. Not just how successful someone was during their lifetime, but how much they continue to influence the world after they are gone. And that is where Michael Jackson's legacy becomes truly remarkable. His story has survived changing generations, changing technology, and changing trends. New audiences who never experienced his original era are still discovering his music and learning about his journey. His name continues to create curiosity, discussion, and emotion. This is why the success of the film feels different from a normal box office achievement. It represents something deeper. It represents the power of memory. It represents the connection between an artist and the people who grew up with their work. It represents the idea that some stories never truly end. They continue to evolve with every new generation that discovers them. But perhaps the most fascinating part of Michael Jackson's story is the contrast between the image the world saw and the person who lived behind it. The world saw the legendary performer on stage, the perfect entertainer under the lights, the man who seemed unstoppable. But behind that image was a person who experienced incredible highs and difficult moments throughout his journey. That human side is what makes his story so captivating, because audiences are not only interested in greatness, they are interested in the journey that creates greatness. They want to know what it takes to become a global icon. They want to understand the sacrifices behind the success. They want to see the moments that shape the person behind the legend. And this is exactly why decades later, Michael Jackson remains one of the most discussed and influential figures in entertainment history. His life was not simple. His legacy is not one-dimensional. It is a story filled with music, innovation, fame, challenges, and an impact that continues to grow. As the world continues to watch, discuss, and remember Michael Jackson, one thing becomes clear: some artists create music, but only a few create history.